Creation of water and the seas. خلق الماء والبحر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that He is the one who sent down water from the heavens, of which you have your drink, and with it you grow plants on which you pasture your cattle. He causes the crops therewith to grow for you, and olives and date palms and grapevines and all the fruits. Surely in that there is a sign for a people who ponder. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us of yet another blessing, and such a precious one, and that is of ma'a, water, made from two gases, hydrogen and oxygen, both of which on their own are highly inflammable and combustive. Yet the coming together of two atoms of hydrogen and one of oxygen by the izn, by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, renders it as a source of quenching thirst and putting out the flames. And to have this water available to us in its various forms is beyond our capacity to even fathom its arrangement or its storage. Rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides the water as well as its containers, be it from the sea and oceans, or in the form of frozen glaciers, or in the form of a water table settled beneath the shrubs and trees growing on the ground, on the earth, all around us. And even if the rational man would like to dwell on the Big Bang theory, then it is Allah that separated the atoms and the dunya in the first place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, did the disbelievers not observe that the heavens and the earth were closed? Then we opened them and we created from water every living thing. Mankind himself is made of a sperm drop and an egg. This sperm is referred to as a type of mixed fluid in Surah Al-Insan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna khalaqana al-insana min nutfatin amshaj. For indeed we alone created humans from a drop of mixed fluids in order to test them. So we made them hear and see. And the sperm drop moves through a medium of fluid without which conception would be impossible. And even then the details of viscosity is all managed by the Creator to allow the movement through this medium at a particular speed. And all the plants and creatures are made with water. The turgidity of the xylems and phloems and cell wall of the plant, each vacuole, palisade cells, all are strengthened because of this water. A sapling would not grow upright without this turgidity and without the dissolved nutrients required in the earth in the rainwater that is provided by Allah. Water is the medium to dissolve things in, and these nutrients dissolved in the earth allow trees to grow, hence oxygen to be produced, and hence for man to be sustained on this earth. And then the quality of surface tension in the water aids the floating of certain entities on the surface of the water. Whether it's a tiny insect or the buoyancy of water allows for ships to stay afloat. And as the ships and boats cross the oceans, they permit trade and travel and provide access to the meat of the seas, which we enjoy, and the pearls and gems of the deep oceans and corals that we wear and adorn ourselves with. And this powerful entity of the sea is subjugated by Allah to allow man to enjoy and reflect on these discoveries and treasures. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Nahl, He is the one who has subjugated the sea so that you may eat fresh meat from it and may take out from it ornaments you wear, and you see the boats cleaving through it, and so that you may seek His bounty and that you may be grateful. And this sea, it is the source of food and travel and zinat, beauty, economy through trade. Had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not created the water as He has, powerful yet dependent on the winds, then how would the large ships carry their load across the seas, especially when there were no power boats? And if you think about turbo power of today, then what is it? Or a type of hydropower. That electricity and that power is also generated by water, and its quality of steam, which creates energy in the water molecules to create momentum through kinetic power. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ash-Shura, and among His signs are ships in the sea like mountains. If He so wills, He may stop the wind and they stand still on its surface. Surely in this there are signs for everyone who is ever patient, fully grateful. So it is this water that descends from the sky that revives dead lands, and places where there was no growth suddenly springs into life. How? The other constituents and elements of nitrogen and nitrates and other various fixing bacteria may have always been there dormant. They don't descend from the sky, but what does? Water. And it is this pure liquid that activates and reawakens those dormant nutrients to form an equation of growth together. And suddenly the sapling that were mere seeds before containing their genetics suddenly burst as the rainwater moistens them and activates their components, without which they would have remained as a seed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala holds the water in the earth so it doesn't overflow and slip away, but it doesn't also sink so deep that the roots of trees and plants can't reach it. And look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's distribution of this water all over the world, where 2/3 of the planet Earth is water and 1/3 is dry land. And hence Allah doesn't create anything without a purpose, highlighting the great need for rivers, reservoirs, streams, fountains and glaciers to store this blessing for when it is required. Yet do we ever ponder that the seed swells and crops form and cattle graze and the food cycle is operative? For who? For man to enjoy and eat both the meat of the land and that of the seas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Furqan, and He is the one who has sent the winds conveying good news before His mercy, and we have sent down purifying water from the heavens so that we revive a dead land therewith and give drink to the many cattle and humans created by us. And we have distributed it, the water, among them so that they may take lesson. Yet most of the people refused, all but ungratefulness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further adds in Surah Al-Araf, as for a good land, its vegetation comes out with the permission of its Lord, but that which is bad does not grow except what is bad. Thus we alternate the verses in various ways for people who pay gratitude. A good soil, a good land, when penetrated with this pure rainwater having embedded in it goodness and beneficial nutrients and is able to absorb and hold and retain and give and let water flow, only that soil provides good sweet crop and is able to flourish and grow. Yet the soil and ground and earth that is hard and crusty, with inability to absorb or retain or to let flow through and lacks the nutrients for good growth, such land, despite the pure rains, remains barren and unfruitful and continues to bear weeds and thorns. Abu Musa reported, the Prophet Muhammad said, verily, the parable of the guidance and knowledge that Allah Almighty sent with me is like the likeness of rain falling upon the earth. Among them is a good group which receives the water, and thus there is abundant growth of herbage and grass. Among them is a barren land which retains the water, and thus Allah benefits people from it. They drink from it and graze the animals, and falls upon another group which is only abysmal. It does not retain water, nor does herbage grow. Such is the parable of one who understands the religion of Allah and benefits from what Allah sent with me. He learns and he teaches. And such is the parable of one who does not raise his head and does not accept the guidance Allah sent with me. And so this similitude is a similarity of people, how they absorb the rain. In Surah Al-Baqarah we come to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, do not nullify your acts of charity by boasting about doing people a favor and by causing them hurt, like the one who spends his wealth to show off before people and does not believe in Allah and in the last day. So his example is like a rock on which there is dust, then a heavy rain came over it and left it barren. They have no ability to gain anything out of what they have done, and Allah does not give guidance to the people who disbelieve. The example of those who spend their wealth to seek the pleasure of Allah and to make firm their faith from the depths of their souls is like a garden on a foothill on which came a heavy rain, and it yielded its produce twofold. Even if a heavy rain does not come to it, a light drizzle is enough, and Allah is watchful over what you do. The natural effect of rainfall should be the growth of plants and harvest. But if the earth, which is the repository of fertility, is insignificant in quantity, for example, only a coating of it on a small rock, the result will be that instead of yielding any beneficial result, the rainfall may even prove to be harmful. Like a safwan, a boulder with dirt in it, then the rain comes, then the boulder covered with vegetation, no one knows, but heavy rain left it bald, and the boulder gets exposed. A shallow nature of one who spends with a shallow nature, everyone's impressed with its greenery, but when put to the test on Judgment Day, the infertile nature of the rock is exposed, and all will be washed off, and it'll disappear in front of their eyes. And this is the parable of water.